Welcome to the I Can Do That podcast. I'm Jem Fadling, spiritual formation coach, author, and founding partner of Unhurried Living. With 30 years' experience in spiritual formation, I help people grow by combining grounded optimism with practical spirituality. This effective dynamic will guide you onto the path of discernment so that you can transform your hopes into habits. Each episode, I'll share one practical idea with one simple takeaway. Together, we'll grow at the pace of transformation, and you'll move into your day saying to yourself, I can do that. Growing up on a small farm in Washington, we had many varieties of trees: pine, cherry, weeping willow. But the tree I spent the most time with was the lone apple tree in our front pasture. I'm still not sure why there was only one tree out there. Why didn't they plant more, but why didn't they cut them down? Certainly, there was no need for this single fruit-bearing tree out in a huge field. But whatever the reason for its existence, that lone apple tree became my thinking place. I would run out through the mown lawn of our front yard, contort my way through our barbed wire fence, and follow the path to my tree. There was a crook at just the right height so that I could do a little jump, get my arms into the space, and then lift my elementary-aged body onto the trunk. Off to my right was the perfect branch for sitting. As my feet dangled and the wind created its song in the leaves, my mind would wander. Such leisure. No agendas, no plans, just time. Time for thinking, for daydreaming, for watching leaves dance in the wind. Was I solving any world issues? Hardly. But that kind of small town, small farm living is still inside me. It longs to come out and play like the younger version of myself making her way to the apple tree. Well, fast forward many years into my adult life, and I was teaching a group of pastors in a retreat setting up in the mountains. My subject was presence. I began my session with a pair of verses that I typically use to calm myself down. You see, for me, speaking in front of people is not the same as sitting carefree on the branch of an apple tree. I found these verses a few years ago, and I was seeking to calm myself down before speaking to another group. I guess you're noticing the pattern here, but the verses were from Romans 12, verses 5 and 9. So, since we find ourselves fashioned into all these excellently formed and marvelously functioning parts in Christ's body, let's just go ahead and be what we were made to be, without enviously or pridefully comparing ourselves with each other or trying to be something we aren't. And love one another from the center of who you are. Now, I often use these verses as I prepare to speak to a group. I remind myself to embrace and to be who I am without qualification. I get to be exactly who I was made to be, and I remember that I get to love those in front of me from the center of who I am. So what a treat, what a privilege, right? And to borrow a phrase, I can do that. I can be myself, and I can love others. This is an unhurried living way of serving. I serve from my authentic self, and I love from the center of that place. It's so much freer than trying to pretend I'm something I'm not and trying to impress those I'm teaching. I prefer authenticity and love over pretending and impressing, don't you? So, if you are suffering from situational anxiety today, remind yourself that you are loved and that you get to be exactly who you are and that you can love from the center of your deepest place. You too do not have to pretend or impress. You can give your best and leave the outcomes to God. Just for today, let your inner self be shaded by the lush branches of a metaphorical apple tree, with your feet dangling and the leaves singing. Borrow the simplicity of a child enjoying all the time in the world. Your eternal Father has such time, and that means you do too. So be who you are and express love from the center of your being. and then watch what happens. Here's your I can do that for this week. Take a few moments and get in touch with being what you were made to be. How do you experience that authentic place within yourself? And then think of one person that you can love from the center of that place today. Who is it? And how might you love them? Remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time. If you'd like to connect with me and Unhurried Living further, I invite you to sign up for Unhurried Daily. For 40 days, we'll send you a brief daily email that will serve as a touch point for an unhurried inner pace. It's just a few sentences with a practical question, prayer, or tip. Sign up on our website at unhurriedliving.com.